Good morning, guys. Good afternoon. Good evening. I wanted to jump into a topic that's a little close to my heart today. And it's, interestingly enough, the topic itself really isn't divisive, but the contents of the topic are divisive, if that makes sense. So let's tell you what the topic is first, I guess. Partisanship and identity politics. Now, identity politics is fairly like a blanket statement, I guess you could say, but partisan ideas as well are, this goes on within the church, it goes on within the world, and of course it goes on in politics. Like, that's kind of like a given, you know, and it happens in a lot of small mundane things that we do and think about. We play favorites, you know, and we judge other people according to those favorites, you know. And I don't, you know, my mom raised me in such a fashion that there are two things in life that I cannot stand, right? The first one is judgmental people, which is included in this list, you know. And the second one's irrelevant to the point, so I don't know why I said that, but you know, it's to the point in our society today that we'll judge other people for believing something that we don't believe, that we like push them away for that thing. Like and people on both sides are guilty of this. I'm not trying to play like, oh, the left does this and the right does this, or like the liberals do this and the conservatives do this. Like, people do this in terms of life, where I'm trying not to get too political with it, but the problem is it's really hard because and that's part of the reason that it pisses me off, is because nobody can have an actual discussion about anything, because one person gets pissed off about something and the other person gets pissed off about the other thing that they're like talking about, and it's like, oh, well, you believe that, well, I can't talk to you because you're that thing. And the problem is that no, you aren't that thing. If you believe like generalizing your position doesn't mean you believe with everything about that position, right? So for example, I guess we'll just put my, like, oh, here, I'll paint the target on my back now, you know. I'm a conservative. I am fiscally conservative, and I mean, I'm socially middle ground, I guess. There's a lot of things that I'm fairly conservative about in my personal life, but I don't force those things upon other people because I know they don't have the same worldview as me, which I guess like puts me more towards the liberal side, right? So like I'm a conglomerate of things, but at the same time, if I say that and about one specific thing, about like a specific idea, so for example, I personally, let's say, believe that marriage is between a man and a woman, right? Because I believe that biblically, right? However, not my place to tell you what to do with your like the legality of whatever, because the Bible is never about the legality of that. It was about the sacrament of marriage, which is not a legal issue in the Bible. That's a simple like covenant between you and God and your spouse. It's like, I don't know why we're trying to legislate it, right? So for example, like to go into that, so we go there and he goes, okay. And I get hammered on because like people are like, oh, but you're like this whole conservative and you lump this whole other thing and all these other things about conservatism that I don't like in general. Like, and so we start playing a partisan game of identity politics. And it's not fun. It's not conducive to any sort of discussion or meaningful change, you know, because I'll disagree with you on some things and that's okay. It's good actually, because it means like we like actually have to talk about things and move our discussions into a productive session where people have to think and move their discussion to a place where everyone wins in some function. Like it stops being just about you, I guess. And I don't know. The problem with identity politics is twofold, in my opinion. The first one is that it's so divisive that nothing is ever able to get done. Look at Congress, right? Nothing productive gets done, ever. Was it Kevin Spacey that was like, House of Cards is a fictional universe because it's about a Congress that gets things done? Like it's sad that that's slightly true, you know? And identity politics does that because nobody will compromise on issues that are actually compromisable on, because the other side is part of, quote unquote, that group, right? The problem that I have is that you can have two people who have the same goal in mind and have issues of disagreement on the implementation of that goal, and will still refuse to compromise to come to even a remotely good solution on that goal because the other person is blue or red. Like, why do we do this as a society? It's bad. It's stupid. Like, sure, it's beneficial in some places, right? So for example, like beneficial in some places, and by that I mean, if you're a Nazi, I don't deal with you as a Nazi. I don't. It means you're racist. It means you're anti-Semitic. It means you like you know, the list goes on. Traditional Nazi or whatever, right? I don't associate myself with, and I don't play those games. But like, this is gonna be a very large but, okay? This is not like, that doesn't mean that they don't have a goal in mind, right? And if you have to deal with a Nazi, and the issue is the well-being of children per se, right? You don't compromise on the well-being of all children, period. But if you can come to an agreement whereby the person in like position of power, say they're a Nazi, will compromise and allow you to do things that are beneficial for all children, you do it. You don't say, I refuse to deal with you because you're a Nazi. If you can come to a beneficial agreement, do it. Like, the world isn't perfect. There are bad people here. They're like, evil exists. And if you don't believe absolute evil exists, that's fine. I'm gonna say and suggest to you that Hitler was sufficiently evil to be considered absolute at this point. Let's just throw that out there. And I'm not even gonna start my personal views of Hitler because I think he was far worse than everybody gives him credit for. So, why are we playing a game which actually, so like let's keep going then. Identity politics leads to communist Russia if you go too far to the left, right? Which everybody agrees was a bad thing. And if you don't, I'd like you to read up on it, because, you know, hold on, I'm gonna pull up this number because I want to make sure this number is even remotely close, because the number's stupid. Between 20 to 25 million people. That's bad. And that's just executions, Gulag camps, deportation. That's not starvation. And that's not like anything else, right? That's bad. Like that's really bad, right? Now we go, where was this? 11 million on the side of Hitler. Both of those are bad. I don't like either of those games or either of those outcomes. So why are we playing the game that got us to Soviet Russia or Nazi Germany? I don't understand it. It baffles me. It frustrates me because I don't want to play either of those games, because both of those games lead to millions of people dead. And I'm not saying they like currently do, but they have consistently. So why are we playing these games? It just, even more so. Okay, and so now I'm gonna do something. If you are not religious, you can end here. I'll give you like 30 seconds, right? If you're not religious, you can end here. But for a moment, I want to speak to the church. I want to speak to Christians, and I want to speak to like people who are slightly religious in that sense, even if you're not like a Christian, right? Why is the church playing a game within the church that has led to those things? Did Jesus come out and say we're like what did he say? Like, we're here to like love each other as I've loved you? That's kind of like a basic idea, right? So why are we playing a game that leads to body bags? You know? Why are you so hung up on the fact that they may be doing something you don't like that you refuse to compromise, talk, or associate with them? Or even doctrinally different, because that's a thing too. Like I can slightly understand that. If the doctrinal difference is so very large that you won't associate with people, we have an issue. Because everyone is created in the Imago Dei, like the image of God, right? And you refuse, like, give them their dignity. Like, they're people. The Imago Dei doesn't come from action. The Imago Dei comes from existence itself. So you, who's being a horrible person and not actually, you know, okay, that's a little harsh, because I'm frustrated at this point, so I apologize for that little remark. But you don't get to decide whether they deserve dignity or not. You don't get to decide whether they are, let's say, approachable or not. That's not your position, and you don't have the authority to do that. So stop playing a game and stop playing the dangerous game, and just treat people with dignity, love, respect, and compassion, regardless of whatever side of the aisle they sit on, doctrinally, politically, or relationally. Like, just stop playing the game, because life isn't a game. Like if we're in life, people's lives matter. So don't play the game, you know. That's gonna be it. If I go any longer, I'm gonna rant more, and I can't afford to rant more right now, because you guys don't deserve to hear me ranting more about a subject that you guys probably most generally don't care about and or are not religious. So, because the church has a whole freaking issue with this, and politics is a whole nother bag of worms that I could go on for hours about, especially if we were involved in like an actual discussion. It wasn't just me ranting my thoughts out. So thank you guys for listening. I appreciate you all. I'm sorry about no one yesterday. We're gonna go in today. We'll be back on Monday like normal. So enjoy your day. Stay safe. Have a great one, guys.